Hey there, Pisces. It's Keegan. Welcome to your most recent reading with me. I hope that you've been doing well. If you are new here, it's nice to meet you. I hope that you'll hang out with me for a little bit. Let me do a reading for you. If you enjoy it, then please take a moment to subscribe to the channel. And if you are returning and you're not subscribed to the channel, please take a moment to click the subscribe button. It helps the channel grow, it helps the videos reach more people, and it keeps me motivated. So I just wanted to ask you for those things at the beginning. I have already pulled cards for you and spent some time prior to hitting record, just tapping into your energy. I want to walk you through those cards first. I'm going to put you onto the overhead view really quickly, so you can see the cards that I've pulled for you. I'm trying to get better at mentioning the decks that I use in my readings as well. I've gotten lots of comments recently from people on older videos asking what cards I was using. I always have to go back and look to see what I pulled. So this deck here are the cards that are on the outside. This is the Osho Zen Tarot deck. This Oracle deck is The Universe Has My Back. What's interesting is you actually got the main card from that deck, and I'll talk to you about what that means. But I just wanted to mention that to you before I dive into the energy. But let's talk about the energy that's showing up here. The lead card for you energetically was the Beyond Illusion card. And this card in general, the main purpose of this card is really just to encourage us to kind of shake away all of the things that we're telling ourselves we should do, that we ought to have, that we need to be. And really allow ourselves to question that. And I think that energy is really prominent in everything else that's even showing up here. With some of these readings, what I do basically is I get the main energy and then I try to go a little bit deeper by pulling additional cards. And sometimes it's just the cards that give explanation and it's just they're tied together. And other times it's very clear that someone is sitting at a point where they have two life paths that are ahead of them. And that's what I feel like is happening here. I do want to just talk to you about this a little bit though, because Pisces, it's really, really important that you take some time to just look at your life, look at the things that you are putting your time and effort into, look at the things that you have decided to prioritize above other things. And ask yourself the question, why? That is what's most important over anything else. Because what I feel like right now in terms of your energy is that the things that are really taking up a lot of space in your life, for me, if I tune into you, I just see your energy flowing outward, right? And it's it flows, it flows, it flows. There's not a lot that's flowing back in, okay? So it feels like a situation where you need to look at things and ask yourself, is putting the effort into this thing making me happy? Is putting the effort into this thing enriching my life? Is devoting my time and effort to this leading me to be in a better place than I was this time last year? And it feels like it needs to be something that's all-encompassing, taking a look at your professional life, looking at the relationships that you have in your life, and figuring out okay, if I'm prioritizing this person or this connection, is that coming at a cost of this relationship or this connection? And if so, is that the right way of prioritizing this? Because ideally, what needs to be happening here is that if you're putting effort into a person, that person's putting effort into you. If you're putting effort and energy into something like a job, that job is either, at worst case scenario, right, is providing you financial stability or financial abundance so that you're able to, work towards goals or save money to, try to, get something from it, right? If you're staying at a job that isn't necessarily your dream job, or it's not the thing that you're the most passionate about in the world, there should be a payoff, right? So maybe you're doing it because it allows you to save a lot of money, and that will eventually allow you to, buy a house or take a trip that you've always wanted to take, or it's just allowing you to retire earlier than you might have retired in a different type of job, right? But there has to be some sort of reason. There has to be an answer to the why. And if you ask yourself why, and you don't get a solid answer about why, you need to be able to take a look at that and say no, reprioritize things, make different decisions. Don't live your life based on what you think you should do or what people tell you you need to do. When you do that, you end up here, right? This is the burden. And this is really about kind of You look at this person who's exhausted, right? They're having to go up this mountain. They're carrying all this stuff. This person who's like, this is kind of like the voice, those voices saying, you need to do this, you need to do this, you need to go here, right? And this person is just, they're getting to the point where they're so tired, they're so exhausted of carrying all this additional weight that they're ready to shrug it off. They're ready to sort of just shake themselves free of it. And the fact of the matter is, they're looking at this mountain, this path that they're trying to climb up this mountain, and they're not even sure if that's where they want to go, right? Now, on the opposite side of this, we have the We Are the World card, and the energy of this is just realizing that, number one, we're all connected. Everyone in this world is connected. Our energies are intertwined. But beyond that, every single person who is here is meant to be here. They're meant to contribute a very specific sort of energy into the energies that are that exist here. Right? And so your only true responsibility, your only true goal, your only true obligation to this world is to be you, to bring your uniqueness into the mix of everyone else, to bring your specific energy, to bring your specific vibration, to fully embody who you are, to be as authentic as possible, and to allow people to see that. So if you're not living your life the way that you truly feel like you want to live your life, you have to start making those changes and those adjustments so that your life starts to look more like what you want. Because if you're not doing that, then you're not really living like the life that you're meant to. I know that sounds overly simplistic, but it's really kind of like, if you make decisions, if you make choices to start chasing after the life that you're truly meant to lead, the life that you feel you're most drawn to, then what happens as a result of that is you then show up in other people's lives that you would not have shown up in if you just made the decision to stay in the, I need to do this, I should do this, this is what I'm just supposed to do, I'm just going to go along with what everyone's telling me I need to do. So it's not like it just shifts your energy in your life. You actually start to show up in other people's paths that need to interact with you, that need to know you. Not only that, but you serve as inspiration to other people. You serve as, someone who looks at you and they're like, wow, like, I really respect them. I really admire them for being able to go after what they want, and the fact that they play by their own rules and they don't let, things hold them back, and they don't really care what other people think. Right? So it's important. It's not only important for you and your happiness, but it's important for just shifting the energy of other people, or showing up for the people who are waiting for you, right? And wondering why you haven't shown up yet. Like, that's one thing that I think people don't often understand, is that, when we're in a place in our life where we feel really low, or we feel really sad, and we're thinking, why can't I find this partner that I'm looking for? Or why can't I find the friends that I'm looking for? Why can I not find the connections I'm looking for, the job that I'm looking for? Or why does this place feel like it's too small for me? Why do I feel like this town is that I don't fit in? Why in my family do I feel like the black sheep? Like, whatever it is that's going on with you, there are people in this world who are saying the same things. Why can I not meet the friend that I want? And that friend is you. Why can I not find the partner that I want? And that partner is you. But you don't cross paths with them. You don't interact with them. You don't bump into them until you realize that you have to go on the path that leads you to those people, right? You can't just sit in a life that isn't necessarily where you're supposed to be or what you're supposed to be doing and think that people are just going to magically pop in. You're in the wrong timeline. You have to start shifting yourself more towards the timeline that is truly the highest expression of who you are and the life that you want to lead. If you don't do that, you get to a point where you just don't have anything left, right? If you don't shake off this burden, what's underneath it is just being in a place of total exhaustion. It's not having any sort of passion, not having any sort of interest. It's going through the motions. It's just like, wake up, eat, sleep, go back to bed, right? There's no joy. There's no excitement. You're just kind of blindly stumbling your way through in something where you're like half awake. That's what I feel like, right? And that's not fun. If you embrace the change, it's the total opposite energy. You have creativity sitting here. So creativity, you can think of this as being similar energy to like the Empress in the tarot, right? Where it's all about like creation and abundance and growth, really being able to like manifest the things that you're wanting, and to be able to see things really start to flourish, to feel your own self really start to grow and flourish, right? Now I will say also with this card, with the creativity card, anytime that card or the Empress card comes out for me, the Empress is so associated, so closely associated with the notion of like a good parent, being a good parent. And what I feel here is that is really about being like a good parent to yourself. So what I feel here in terms of just like, some spiritual advice for you is like, if you haven't dealt with like inner child stuff, if you haven't done inner child work, it might be the time to explore that, because I think a lot of what might be holding you back and kind of making you be this like dutiful, obligation focused type of energy is, what would happen? Let me just ask you this: like, if you were a kid, when you were an actual child, right? When you were a child, younger, what happened if you said you didn't want to do something? What happened if you, you didn't agree with what was stated as what was being best for you? How were you treated? Were you heard? Was that respected and listened to? Were you able to explain yourself in terms of why you wanted something different? Why you didn't want to make a certain choice or commit yourself to something? Or were you just kind of told to do what you were told, to go along with it, and to not ask questions? If it's the second option, then that inner child that it still exists inside of you, that was never heard, that never figured out how to make their needs understood because they weren't able to express them, that energy of that inner child is still operating very powerfully within you. And you have to figure out how to be a good parent to that child, and to say, you know what, I understand how disappointing that was for you. I understand how hard that was for you to never feel like you were heard, to never feel like your needs were understood or even that they mattered. But I'm in control now, right? I'm the adult, and I'm going to make sure that we have the life that you dreamed about when you were a little kid, right? And do things for your inner child, right? If there was a toy that you always wanted, I mean, it could be really simple. It's not this easy to like solve the trauma, right? But it can be pretty easy to start to get in touch with your inner child. If there was a specific toy that you always wanted when you were younger and you never got it, and you asked for it and you never got it, go buy yourself that toy. Right? If there was a favorite candy that you had when you were a kid and you haven't had it forever, go get that candy. And feel internally where your energy is when you're playing with that toy or when you're eating that candy. That's your inner child kind of like peeking out from wherever they're hiding and saying, oh, wow, like we were told we couldn't have this candy, or we were told we couldn't have that toy. Why, what's happening? Why is it different? That's how you can start to connect. But the work itself can be a little bit challenging, okay? Now, in the middle, as I mentioned, you got the Universe Has My Back. This deck is called the Universe Has My Back. This is basically like getting the Sun card in tarot, right? It just means that the universe wants to support you in this. It's trying actively. More than likely, you have some sort of insight. You have some sort of, your intuition is firing, telling you that certain things need to change, that certain things need to be dealt with, that certain things need to be adjusted. But it's up to you to pay attention to that, okay? So we're going to pull some tarot here. I'm going to pull 5 cards for you, and then we'll end by pulling a card out of this deck as some advice or guidance for you. And I did put that Universe Has My Back card back in there in case it wants to come out again. I did pre-shuffle this deck before I sat down to film. I'm just going to shuffle a little bit here on camera. I know there are people who like to see the cards being mixed up. I'm going to turn some of them into opposite directions. Give it 2 more shuffles, and I'm going to go with the top 5 cards off the top of the deck. All right. So I have the Page of Swords coming out reversed here. That's followed by the Moon card reversed. We have the 7 of Swords upright, the 6 of Cups reversed, and then we have the 2 of Pentacles, which is also reversed. So let's talk about what these cards mean. I'm just going to read them left to right. That feels how the story is unfolding for me. This Page of Swords reversed to me feels like there could be some issues going on here just in terms of like for sure for some of you, I'm getting legal issues, and don't be freaked out by that. This could just be something like it could be something just as simple as like, let's say for example that you were hoping to open a business. I'm pulling that out, right? If that's specific to you, then this is really a specific message for you. But let's say that you were hoping to like open a business, and to open that business, you needed to be able to secure a business loan. And when you started the process, you found out that like someone had been using your identity and had run up a bunch of debt, and you have to deal with that. Okay, it's that sort of thing. It doesn't necessarily mean like you're going to be sued or there's something really horrible going on. It just means that there's something that is kind of like an obstacle or a conflict. There's something that's in your way. The news that you get around something that you hoped you would get like good news, it's not necessarily the best news coming through. And I think that just kind of stands alone as its own thing. Just know that there's something there that you have to deal with. But again, you have the universe has my back as that card, so it's going to work out. But it's just kind of like a hiccup. It's a bump in the road. The moon card showing up here reversed. I like that this is here in the reversal, because it means that you are at a place where you're finally dealing with some stuff that is needed to be dealt with for a while. When the moon shows up as being reversed, it represents being in a place where we're dealing with things that need to be dealt with. We're facing things inside of ourselves that need to be dealt with. We are dealing with things that we've either like not known that they were there, or we've actively tried to kind of ignore them and pretend that they weren't there, right? But it's really dealing with things in a way that allows for clarity to come through, for like truth to come through. And I like that that's the energy that's showing up for you. Now, Seven of Swords being next to this, I'm not 100% sold on this, because I feel like what this is saying is that the Seven of Swords, very often in readings, people talk about like this is about someone like doing something dishonest, getting away with something, doing some sort of like betrayal, right? That is that is what the card means. But this card also, the Seven of Swords, can also represent just energy of running away. So it could represent the energy of someone doing something and then trying to get away with it, right? Trying to get away. But what I feel from this is more about you. It's more about you running away from this, right? An obstacle, an obstacle is put in your path. I don't know why I couldn't say that word. An obstacle is put in your path. What do? Do you figure it out, or do you give up? If something isn't easy, do you take that as a sign that it's not meant to be, or do you see that as a test from the universe, making sure that they understood properly, right? So for example, let's say that, you are trying to open a business, or you're trying to buy a house, or you're trying to get a new car, or you're trying to move to a new city, and you find out that there's something going on that needs to be cleared up before you're able to do it. That could just be a test from the universe saying, hey, are you sure you want this house? Are you sure you want this new job? Are you sure you want to move across the country? Like, I'm going to put this little obstacle in the path just to buy us some time so that I can be sure that I understood you properly. You can be sure that this is what you really want, and it's not just some sort of reactionary thing. This is going to be, I'll make sure that this is easy for you to solve, because I'm just putting it here to be able to clarify with you. But if you see that and you say, oh, well, that's a sign I'm not supposed to move, or that's a sign I'm not supposed to change jobs, or that's a sign I'm just supposed to settle for what I have. Like, that causes problems, right? And that's what this feels like. Don't give up on things just because you hit a bump, right? Don't be discouraged by that. Be able to see that for just what it is, that it might just be a detour, the universe saying, oh no, not that city. You're right, you should move, but not to that city. Try this one. Right? This is where you're going to meet the right person. This is where you're going to meet those friends. And this is where you're really going to be happy. Think about it that way. It makes it so you don't feel this need to like give up and run. Now, the other thing here, right, just to say this, right, Seven of Swords, if that represents running from dealing what you need to deal with and moving yourself forward to the future, having the Six of Cups reversed come out as the card after that represents that you might be prone to going back to what you've known, returning to something from the past. The Six of Cups represents things from our past, and when it's upright, it's good energy. It's looking back on things and being happy. When it's reversed, it's really about being stuck in the past, or living in the past, or not being able to break through from it, or the past having some sort of energetic hold over us still. Last card out, we have that Two of Pentacles, which is showing up reversed. This, again, is energy of not being able to commit, not being able to see things through, struggling, feeling like you don't really have the ability to, make a decision, or you feel like you're in a situation where perhaps, like, making the choice or making the decision feels very overwhelming to you. Again, the energy of these cards just feels like it's indicative of someone who knows that they need to make change. They know that they need to pick a different direction. They know that they need to adjust things. They know that there are choices that need to be made, decisions that need to be made, things that need to be followed through. But as soon as they hit a little snag or things start to get a little bit challenging, they just say, okay, that's a sign that I was wrong and I need to not do that. I need to just go back to what I know. But then you end up in a situation when you go back to what you know of being like, this doesn't feel right. Like, I feel like I need to change. I feel like I need to do things. And it's a cycle for me that I'm seeing energetically. You have to break yourself out of that. So let's see what wants to come through in terms of advice or guidance for you, Pisces. Then we'll wrap this up. I'm just going to do a cut here. This is going to be your card. So this says, I am a spirit having a human experience, and I'm here to get closer to love. So anytime this card comes out, Pisces, I just like to remind people that it's not all that serious, right? We are here to experience being human, to have human emotions, human feelings, but the truth of the matter is we're much bigger than that. And whatever it is that you want, whatever type of life that you want, whatever type of relationship that you want, career that you want, whatever it is that you're trying to manifest, whatever it is that you feel yourself being pulled towards energetically, you can have that. You just have to believe that you're worthy of it, that you deserve it, that it's for you. And as soon as you align to feeling like those things are for you and that they are yours to claim, the universe is ready to give them to you. So, Pisces, I hope that this reading was helpful to you. If it made sense to you, please leave me a comment, let me know. Give the video a thumbs up, share it if you know another Pisces, subscribe to the channel. All of those things, as I mentioned, I think I mentioned this at the beginning, it just helps to boost the videos. It helps to promote the channel to other people who might need to hear the same message. And so you can do your part by just interacting with this video and however you want to. Even if you just want to say hi to me in the comments, that helps. Okay, so I'll be back in a couple of weeks to do some more tarot for you guys. I have some fun astrology videos that I'm going to be posting during the month of April. So it's another reason for you to subscribe so that you know when I post those. And just trust your intuition and believe in yourself. That's my parting advice to you, Pisces. Bye.